So we've just got back from a festival.
We're feeling the repercussions of six nights of
Oh
partying
my
in
God.
Albania.
6 nights. That is actually crazy. I don't think I've ever done a 6-day festival.
I've never been out 6 nights in a row. I've done Glastonbury and that's 4 nights. And after Glastonbury's different, but
I feel like Glastonbury is probably a bit heavier because we were chilling in the day and we had a hotel.
Yeah.
And we weren't really drinking in the day, whereas Glastonbury for me, I've never been, but it feels like just a constant party for 4 days.
It is, and there's so much walking as well. Like if you think about at Carla Festival where we were, it was so small, so it's not that much walking. But Glastonbury, I remember looking at like my steps afterwards, and I averaged a half marathon a day.
What?
So I did like 45,000 steps a day on average.
Oh,
it's probably just me
God.
two-stepping the whole time.
But it was a fun festival in Albania, which would never have thought to go to before, but it was really nice, wasn't it?
Would definitely recommend Carla Festival if you haven't been. I'll go back in a heartbeat.
Well, I think that this episode is probably quite relevant to how we're feeling right now, because when you get back from festival, you know that you feel extremely depleted, exhausted, and you just want to make your life a little bit easier. And when you have ADHD, everything feels 10 times harder anyway. So then when you're on a bit of a come down, hangover, depleted, no energy. It's actually like 100 times harder.
So this is our ADHD Girls Guide to making life easier. So how can you work with your brain instead of against it? And I want to think of this as more of like a permission slip for you to be able to, have certain strategies in place, and like, rather than talking about like the neurotypical things that people say, to make your life easier, have a planner, like all of this sort of stuff. We're going to just be talking about the things that are so easy to do that will make your life a lot easier. It's not about fixing yourself, but it's about working with yourself to, make things a bit more manageable.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do live in a very neurotypical world, which makes it, for a neurodiverse person, things can seem a little bit harder. And that's why sometimes the things that make our life easier might look to a neurotypical person as a little bit stupid, to be honest. So with that in mind, what is one thing that you do that you would say would sound pretty unhinged to a neurotypical person, but has genuinely made your life easier?
I go through phases, but one of the ones that I do quite a lot is when it comes to meals. So I will eat the same thing constantly just because it's easier and there's no like decision fatigue around it. Like sometimes the thought of what am I going to eat puts me in such a paralysis that I don't eat because I'm thinking so much of like, what do I want to eat? And then I'm like, actually, no, I'm not hungry because I've spent so much time
thinking
about what I want to eat. And I remember there was one time at uni, I went through a hyper-focus phase of only wanting to eat tuna sweet corn sandwiches. And every single night for dinner, I'd have a tuna sweet corn sandwich. And I remember there was one night I cooked myself a dinner, like I cooked like noodles or something. And then I looked at it and thought, I just want a tuna sweet corn sandwich. And I chucked the noodles in the bin and had a tuna sweet corn sandwich. But that's the thing is like, I told myself, I can't have tuna sweet corn sandwiches every night for dinner.
Yeah.
So I'd forced myself to cook something different. And then I didn't even want it. So it kind of just taught me,
stick to what you know.
Stick to what you know. If you feel comfortable eating the same meal every single day, do it. Do it until you get bored of that meal, and then you'll find another meal. But that's probably like one of my unhinged things that I just like. The same meal over and over again. It's safe. What about you?
Probably the whiteboard that I have in my kitchen that has the most basic things on ever, like water plants, change my flower water, take vitamins, take Simprove, which I've recently just started, and having a million to-do lists in my notes. Sometimes I go in my notes and I'm like, how do I still have to-do lists that I had from last week that I've still not finished? And like, I'll have remember for the morning. I think I just have a lot of things to remind me because I often forget about very normal things.
It's easy to like have it externalized and visualize it, because I think for a lot of ADHD people, when it's like out of sight, it's out of mind. So unless you don't have it written down somewhere, like you're not going to be able to remember it. I'm a massive believer in working smarter and not working harder. Not saying that I don't work hard, but
work smart,
because like if you can figure out what makes your life more efficient, do that than like spending hours and hours on the same thing. So yeah, like we said before, it's not going to be a self-improvement episode. We're not going to be talking about like the boring things. It's about working smarter, not harder, and figuring out what works for you. So trying to reframe a lot of the strategies that I'm sure a lot of us have tried to do and a lot of us have failed at is trying to stop forcing a neurotypical lifestyle. Like when you see all these organization tips on TikTok and Instagram and you try and do them and it doesn't work, that's because these organization tips are made for neurotypical people. Yeah. So you're not going to do that realistically. Like I'm not going to color code every single item in my, kitchen cupboard, or, sit there and meal plan every single meal for the week, or, batch cook a load of meals on a Sunday night, because that just seems ridiculous.
Might do it for a week.
Yeah, you'll do it for a week.
And then you'll give up on it.
You'll do it for a week and be like, this is so good. Why haven't I done it before?
And then you'll be on to the next hyperfixation of some other organisation tool. And I think that's the important thing to remember as well, that there is a lot of shame that happens when you fail at certain things that are built for neurotypical people. I think this episode is probably about really letting go of that shame and seeing just how simple and maybe a little bit unhinged and silly some of these things seem, but owning it and being like, maybe if I do need to do this thing that for any normal person, like writing on my whiteboard that I need to take vitamins in the morning, it might seem stupid, but this is what about your brain and trying to make it work for you. And every single ADHD brain is different as well. So there might not be anything on this that works for you. But hopefully there's one thing.
At least one thing might work for you. And I think a lot of the, ADHD life hacks look lazy from the outside, or they look like, oh, you're just cutting corners. But, for an ADHD person, it's actually really clever adaptations for your life. There's a difference. Like, you're not being lazy, you're not failing at being a person. You just need to figure out the ADHD ways of living your life and managing it.
Absolutely. Is there anything that you think that you've beat yourself up on that you've now just accepted and built around?
I think I've said it so many times in this episode, but like just general chores really get me down, and there's a lot of shame about it, because it will be like the simplest things of, putting your washing in the washing machine and then taking out the washing machine and putting it on like the dryer, or taking the bins out, and the mundane tasks that are so boring and that I always forget about. So there's been so many times where I've put my washing in the washing machine, washed it, forgot about it, and then the next day it's all smelly and damp because I've left it in the washing machine. Then I have to wash it again, and I'm giving myself more work to do, because like just the idea of doing it is so unbelievably like overwhelming. And I think I beat myself up about it for so long, because everyone else around me was like, well, why can't you just do it? Like, just do it. It's like the whole idea of like, oh, well, it will only take you 10 minutes. So why haven't you done it? And then you feel like you're lazy. You feel like you are guilty. You're a bad person because you just can't do the most simplest things. And I think since receiving the ADHD diagnosis and being able to understand why simple things are a lot harder and how I can work around them makes me be able to accept it more and like not feel as bad about it for myself. But yeah, it's not easy trying to figure out how to do simple things. I always find it weird because I feel like, like the really hard stuff is so easy, but the everyday like simple things is like the hardest thing ever.
To be honest, if I was to give an answer, it'd probably be pretty similar to yours. I think the hardest thing for me, and it's only now I've been diagnosed with ADHD that I realised that I've always found it really hard, is putting my washing away. But like seeing it, but the thing is, you see it on your clothes horse every day. So it's in front of your face. Your house, for flat or house, whatever, looks really cluttered with it. but I just can't bring myself to do it because I just can't be bothered.
And it gives you anxiety, and then you see it and you have the anxiety of seeing
and
it.
It's a spiral, and then I'm like, just shut my door. Just shut my bedroom door so I don't have to see it. I'll go in the office, don't have to see it, then it's too late when I get back. But yeah, no, I completely understand. I think that it is definitely the smallest things, but that's why having a diagnosis is life-changing, because you understand why those little things can seem really hard and you're not lazy.
Yeah, and then you can finally understand why all the typical organisation tips
are for neurotypical people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So shall we get into our tips?
Yeah. Do you want to go number 1?
Yeah. Tip 1, pre-cut frozen veg.
Yes.
You know what? This actually sounds so tiny, but it's not, because it's about removing the friction from things. So say, for example, when you're cooking a dinner, cooking requires so much executive function at every single stage. You know, it's deciding what to eat, checking what you have in the fridge, going to the shop to get what you have, you know, prepping it, cooking it. The barrier to entry is actually so enormous when it comes to cooking. And I think a lot of people don't even think about it, because I think for me and a lot of ADHD people, when we come to a task, instead of it being just, I've got to cook dinner, we break it down into a million little tasks, which is why it is so overwhelming for us. So it's not just cooking dinner, it's doing all of these other things that we have to do to cook. So pre-cut frozen veg removes as many steps as possible before you even begin. So you don't need to peel vegetables, you don't need to chop, you don't need to think. You literally just need to open the bag and throw it in.
Yeah.
And also with any other things, you know, pre-marinated meat from the shops, don't have to think about like putting all spices on it. You know, just try to make it as frictionless as possible. You know, even if you want a ready meal, I love a ready meal, or like one of those like pre-made tray bakes from Tesco.
I also think as well, with that in mind, I always waste vegetables because I buy it and then I forget that I've got it in the fridge, don't eat it, and then it's just a massive waste. Like 10 stem broccoli is fucking expensive.
It is.
And I never ever eat it. So I just buy the microwave packs of it. It's like, I don't know if they're like Uncle Ben's or something.
It's
I don't
like
know.
Bird's Eye.
Sorry, Uncle Ben's.
Uncle
That's
Ben's.
right. Bird's Eye, but they're amazing.
Yeah.
Just stick them in the microwave, done, and you're not wasting any veg then.
Exactly, because that's another thing of forgetting what you have in the fridge and then it just going all mouldy. It's same with fruit as well.
Yeah, I never eat fruit when I have it.
You can get those like pre-cut frozen like smoothie mixes. I used those for a while. That was like a thing though. That was like, I'm really going to get into smoothies.
Bought a blend active or whatever and never used it.
And then I did like a few smoothies and was like, this is really good. And then like after a while I forgot. But if you are someone that likes smoothies, you know, get the frozen stuff. And I think with the vegetables, there is such like a misconception of like frozen vegetables don't have as much nutrition in them.
Technically, like they are preserved if they're frozen anyway, aren't they? Is that a thing?
Yeah, well, they're fresh and then they're frozen,
so it's not really that different.
It's like if you had fresh prawns and they're like flash frozen, they still have all the nutrients in it. So it's not lazy cooking. It's just, you know, figuring out what works for you. And if that makes it that you're going to be more likely to cook yourself dinner and eat vegetables, just buy the frozen veg. Just buy the pre-cut. And also have you ever had the frozen garlic cubes?
Yes, I buy those.
I love those
so
frozen. Even like the lazy garlic, the ones in the tub.
Because if you open my fridge, and as you know, there's not often things in my fridge, but all there is a full shelf of just garlic cloves.
They're going
to go off and all moldy.
What is it? When the stem starts coming out, you know, when it's starting to grow inside your fridge, and you're like, no.
So that's a very good tip.
Yeah, frozen garlic, frozen veg, pre-marinated meats,
frozen everything.
If you saw Emily's fridge, you would be shocked. It is like
it's empty.
It is completely empty. I've never seen your freezer though, so maybe that's.
After this, look at how many frozen vegetable packs I have. The Bird's Eye. I just have stir fry packs and frozen vegetable packs because it's the only thing that I can buy that doesn't go off.
It's a smart tip.
It's a very good tip. And this moves quite nicely onto the next one, which is meal boxes and outsourcing the decision. So I am terrible at thinking of what to eat. and you keep telling me to buy a Gusto box, and I really need to do that. Thankfully, I have a boyfriend who's a very good cook and cooks me pretty much every evening now, so I don't have to think about it. But for me, trying to think of what to eat, as you've just mentioned, often leads to me either not really eating or eating something that I've ate a million times over, which happens to be salmon, veg, and rice, which is a really nice meal. But ultimately, I can't be eating salmon, veg, and rice every single night for dinner. I could do, but I think it's the fact that if you buy a Gusto box, not only is it nice to get excited about a meal every night when you're going back home because you know what you're going to have, but that decision's made for you and ingredients are already measured and prepped. Again, that's a good thing, because I don't know if you're the same, but I go to the shop and buy something for a meal, and I always end up buying way too much more than I actually need, and then it goes to waste.
There's always too much there.
Yeah.
And I love this tip because I actually am a big believer in it. I don't do it anymore, but I used to do Gusto, and I tried HelloFresh as well. And I just think it makes life so much easier. Like, it is just, you have simple instructions that you follow.
That's the thing as well.
And it takes out the having to think of what you want to eat. Like, for me, I actually really enjoy cooking. I love cooking, but I hate thinking about what I want to eat and then going to the shops and like having to think of, oh, what ingredients do I need to get for this? And I also think there's a lot of novelty with the boxes. Like, it's exciting. Like, I remember
it's like a Christmas every time you're unwrapping
it's like the box comes, and I remember like the box, we would order it would come on a Monday, and like you would choose your next week's meal on like the week before. And we used to get really excited, like sitting there, like going through all the meals and being like, oh my God, have you seen this? And they have really like fun.
You've shown me some of the meals and I'm like, these are unreal.
And they have so many like categories in it as well. Like, if you want it to be like gut friendly, or if you are vegetarian or vegan, or, you know, high protein, it takes out so much of the decision making process for it. And it removes like that whole supermarket trip where you get completely overwhelmed, gets delivered to your house. And yes, I understand, you know, the boxes are expensive, but if you think about the amount of times that you've sat there and thought, I don't know what to cook, so you've ordered like a Deliveroo or an Uber Eats instead, you know, it kind of removes that. So you'd probably save money because you're not just ordering takeaway, or you're not just going to the shop and buying more food than what you need.
Well, that's the thing. Like, for me, the supermarket in general is like a really overwhelming task. And I either go with a big list of things and somehow forget something on the list, or I wanted to make something really unique, and then there's all these little ingredients that I don't already have that I need to then buy that I'll probably never use again. And when I go into a supermarket, I always end up spending so much more money, because I'll see something, I'll be like, oh, that match looks really nice, or oh, look at that new like kefir yogurt, and oh, I really need this. And then I come out with all of this stuff, and I can guarantee I'll forget about it and I'll not use it.
I'm like a magpie with like shiny things in the supermarket as well. So like you go in for one thing, and then like the big Tesco near me has everything. Like, it's got a clothing section.
This is what I need. Home section.
And I'm like, oh, I need this, I need that. I go into the toiletry section. I'm like, oh, some new hair stuff.
Exactly.
Or, you know,
before you know it, you've got a £200 food shop. So yeah, and I think also just worth mentioning as well that it doesn't actually have to be a Gusto box. Although I think these what are they? Meal boxes are great.
Pre-prepared
boxes. Sometimes just having a small rotation of really simple meals. So eggs on toast for breakfast, yogurt and fruit, and one other breakfast idea, maybe a smoothie, and then for lunch you can have salad, sandwich, tuna and rice, I don't know. And then for dinner you just have the really simple meals, but maybe pick from 3 each.
Yeah.
And just know that they're quick, easy, you know how to make them. And then that kind of takes away that overwhelm as well.
Yeah, there's no shame you ate. You don't need to be like cooking up a storm every single night.
No.
You know, like, as long as you're eating and you're getting your nutrients, that's the most important thing. I have ready meals every single Monday because we do our food shop on Mondays. And for me, the idea of finishing work, then going to the supermarket and doing a whole weekly food shop, and then having to cook after is too much. So I have a ready meal every Monday, and there's no shame in it. No. It's like, I'm still eating. Yes.
And you can get really healthy ready meals now
as well. They're so good. The ready meal game is really stepping up at the moment, I would say. gets exciting when they're like, oh, new ready meals here. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to try that one.
The ramen one from M&S, I think it's like, or maybe it's M&S one. Great. I'm very nutritious. Anyway.
Tip 3. I do this all the time. Designated chuck it buckets. I actually call these fuck it buckets. But it sounds really chaotic, but I think it's actually kind of genius. So the problem is that tidying requires you to pick something up, decide where it goes, go there, put it away, come here, come back. It's almost like 4 to 6 decisions per item, lots of moving around. And with ADHD, like I said before, we process every single step. So being able to pick this up, blah, blah, blah. Whereas if you have a bucket, I'm not going to say bucket, maybe it's like a nice basket. It's like a nice box or something where it's like in the room, you can just put it in the bucket. And instead of having to decide for each item where it's going to go, you just put it in the bucket for that room. So say, for example, you are putting your clothes away and there's towels in there or bed sheets. And it's like, okay, well, all the clothes go in the chuck it bucket in the bedroom. All the towels go in the chuck it bucket in the bathroom. And then it's less movement and less back and forth. Anything that doesn't belong in that room goes in, like everything that belongs in that room goes in the specific bucket for it. And it's like you're not really tidying, but you're just kind of relocating it to the right rooms. And then once everything's in that bucket, you don't need to do it straight away, but you can do like once a week. Okay, I'm going to organize the chuck it bucket in my bedroom, or I'm going to do it in the bathroom. And so it's like you don't have to be overwhelmed by tidying everything at once. It's more of like doing it in small stages. It goes in the bucket, and then the next day I'll do that bucket, I'll do this one.
I like that idea because I feel like I personally don't do that. And when I saw this on the list, I was like, I really like that idea, because I often get so overwhelmed with how many places things have to go that I just don't do it. And then what that leads to is even more overwhelm and more anxiety, because I hate clutter and I hate mess. But it's like if it's all over my room, and granted there's going to be things in my room that absolutely shouldn't be there, it's like after unpacking, I don't know about you, but that unpacking after that trip just felt...
We got back on Wednesday
endless,
and I only unpacked my suitcase today, and it had been sat on the bottom of my floor.
How stressful is it seeing it all and knowing they all have to go in like different rooms?
And I was tripping over my suitcase every single day getting into my bed, and I was like, I can't do it, because it was just so overwhelming, because there's like toiletries in there.
This is what I mean.
And then so I just put it into different piles for each area that I needed to go to.
That's a really good unpacking hack.
Yeah.
You could have like 3 separate baskets when you're unpacking, and just putting things into, so everything can go in the toilet together.
And then it's almost everything always looks better as well.
Yeah,
because like when everything's like spread out, whereas if it's in a box, you can't. It's like almost immediately looks
a good packing idea.
Yeah, like packing boxes almost.
Yeah, and then you can just put them all. That's why I like. Have you seen the packing cubes?
Yeah, I love a good packing cube. Actually, it makes life so easy. I'm like tops in this one, bottoms in this one.
Yeah,
and then it just feels so much more organized. I will say, the risk of the chuck it buckets is that there have been times where like I'm very out of sight, out of mind. So I'm like, okay, well, it's in there. Like I don't need to look at it.
And you forget
and then
about
I forget about it. So maybe, having one that's see-through, that you can see it, because if it's like you can put it away, then you can forget about it. Whereas if it's see-through, you know that it's there, and every time you walk past it, you're like, okay, I'll do that box today, or I'll do that one tomorrow.
Yes, I actually really like that, and I think I'm going to use it more. Tip number 4, in your shoe trick, never forget things again. So I'm really bad for this, but if you need to remember something, leaving it in your shoe, leaving it near the door, on top of your bag, wherever it is, somewhere that physically blocks you from leaving without it. I am absolutely terrible at forgetting my keys. I remember when we were away and you went out with your phone.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy when you're overwhelmed and you're in a rush to forget the little things, and then you're halfway down the street and you're like, oh shit.
Well, I'm not going to go back.
And sometimes you don't have time to go back, and then you've already forgot it. So I think it's also, so for example, today I went to Reformer, and I'd left my bikini at the Reformer place because there's a sauna. And in my mind, I was like, I'll get it tomorrow at Reformer. And I wrote on my list of things to do this morning, pick up bikini from Reformer. Obviously, didn't look at that to-do list this morning, completely forgot it was on there, didn't get it. If I had a post-it note on my door before I left with the things I needed to do, and it was visually there, then I remember before I leave. Because ADHD working memory is very unreliable, so thinking I'll remember that in the morning, you can guarantee by tomorrow you've forgot it.
Yeah, that's a lie. It is a lie. The amount of times I'll say, I'll remember it in the morning, it is a lie. The amount of times someone's like, oh, can you bring that in for me? Can you bring this? And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it in the morning. And I never do it because I tell myself and then I've forgotten that I've told myself.
Yeah.
And I think this tip is good because it works in so many different ways. Like, obviously, we're saying put it in your shoe. It's a good idea because, you know, you have to put your shoes on every morning. So if you put your foot in your shoe and there's a pair of keys in there, you're going to be like, oh, the keys, and then remember. But it works with every sort of thing that a visual cue. So say, for example, every morning if you have a cup of coffee or you have a cup of tea, put your vitamins right next to the kettle.
That's a really good one.
And then it's like the visual cues of think about your routine and what are the things that you
How
do.
does it go in order?
Yeah, so if you always have a tea, put something next to the kettle. If you always wash your face in the morning, put something on the sink. The door is such an easy one.
Yeah.
Put a post-it note on the door. Even like packing your bag the night before rather than the morning of. So when you do think, oh, I need to bring that in tomorrow, just put it in your bag as soon as you think of it rather than delaying it to the morning because you will just forget it.
I think one for me that I've just been thinking of, which is very relatable because I'm going on holiday again, is I always think that I forgot my passport, and I don't know if that's an ADHD thing or just a general anxiety thing.
It's the dread.
A bit like getting to the airport, oh my god, I've forgot my passport, and I don't remember if I put it in because sometimes I put it in the night before, and I think for some reason forget to check. But I always lay my passport on top of my bag in the morning so I know it's there and I visually remember seeing it before I've left so that I don't have that panic at the airport, because there's generally nothing worse. And when you're in a panic, which I really do think this is an ADHD thing, you're not really looking at things properly. You're just really rushing. Like, oh my god, I've not got it.
It's always when I'm rushing.
You forget the simple place. I
always forget things when I'm rushing or when you know, like someone else is ready and you're like, I've got to be ready. I've got to be there. That's always when I forget things because I think my brain is so focused on like getting there and rushing around to do the things that I forget the simple things. And one thing as well that has really changed for me is I always used to forget my keys or lose my keys and have like no idea where they are. Most of the time they're in my pocket or something stupid like that. But in the flat, I've now got key holders on the wall and it's right next to the door. And so every day that I come in from work, I put my keys on the key holder. Every time I leave, they're right by the door so I can never forget them. So rather than just like chucking your keys on the side or like chucking them in a bag or a pocket or something, they're just there on the wall. And that I actually haven't lost my keys since
because it's a visual place to leave it every single night or every single time you know come back to your flat. So what do you think is the most chaotic thing that you have nearly left without?
I mean, I've left without my phone multiple times. Like I do it all the time. When we were on a holiday, it was because I was rushing around, and then I realised. So we were doing themed nights, and the themed night was we were all wearing like these crochet hats. And then I was walking out the door, and someone was like, "Oh, remember your crochet hat?" And I was like, "Oh shit!" Couldn't find my crochet hat in my suitcase. Was rushing around trying to find it. Found the crochet hat. Got out the hotel. Was like halfway to the festival, and then I was like, "Shit!" I left my phone in the room because I was stressing about this fucking crochet hat that I wore for like 2 minutes.
I didn't actually wear mine either.
And then took off. But thankfully there's never been any, like, I think I've never forgotten like a passport or anything like that. I mean, it could be worse. I have, to be fair, there was a time where do you remember when festival tickets were like paper, like printed off, they weren't on your phone? I once got all the way to a festival and realised I didn't have the ticket with me, and thankfully there was a box office there and I could show them like the confirmation. They gave me like a temporary paper one. But the stress of like travelling 3 hours to a weekend festival and then being like, I don't have the ticket,
I forgot it. And
then it was so much longer because I had to go to the box office and then queue for 2 more hours. That was probably the most like, I can't believe I forgot this because I literally left it on the table next to the door. What about you?
There's been a lot over the years, and it's only when I've been diagnosed with ADHD that I look back on my life and think, oh my God, there's been so many. But the worst one is probably, I think I've told you about this, when I was in a layover in Hong Kong, and thank God I was getting on the same plane, because I got off the plane. I'm dawdling around for like, it was like a 2-hour layover in Hong Kong, and you have to go back through passport control. So then the first thing is, I thought I'd lost my passport, and in thinking I'd lost my passport, all I was focused on was my passport.
Yeah.
And you have to go then back through security. So I'm going through security. I was on the phone to my mum at the time. I'm dawdling around, and then I'm like, shit, where's my laptop and where's my coat? And I'm like, I'm going to get my laptop out, and I'm, oh my God, I forgot, I've left my laptop on the plane. And I actually only recently just bought that new Apple laptop because my other laptop had broke. So I'm looking for it, can't find it. And then I went to the desk when I got through, and I was like, is there any chance there's a laptop been found on that plane? And thankfully it was, and it was all fine. But can you imagine if that was if we were getting on a different aircraft? Like, there was someone was looking over me that day, because I don't know how I would have got that back. I would have eventually probably got it back.
Yeah.
But
did you have insurance?
Of course I didn't.
Of course.
That's one thing I do not have ever.
No, I never do.
So yeah,
I always get Matt to do our travel insurance because there's no way that I don't think I have contents insurance. I must do somewhere.
Yeah, I don't.
I think Matt's probably sorted it for me.
It's not, probably. That's a male thing to do.
Yeah, that's a boy job.
That's a neurotypical
job.
That actually.
Is. Do you know what? Actually, I've done so many times is left my phone in public toilets. I've done it so many times.
You go back and you're like, oh my God, thank God it's there.
Because I'll be like, if I'm going to the toilet, I'll be sat there on my phone, like just scrolling, and then I go to wipe, so I put my phone down like on the side or like on top of the toilet roll holder, and then I'll just walk out and I'll forget about my phone. And the amount of times that I've done that and then like been stressed, oh my God, I've left it in the cubicle, and run back. I remember I did it when I was in America in like a Walmart or something.
Yeah.
And we'd done the whole shop, and I got to the end and I was like, oh my God, I don't have my phone.
Yeah.
And I went into the cubicle. It wasn't in the cubicle, and I was like, oh
Someone's
my God.
handed it in.
Thankfully, someone handed it in.
There are some good people in the world. I feel like most of the time your phone
does get handed in.
Touchly.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time that I have lost my phone, people have handed it in.
Yeah.
And I would like to think that most people are good like that. But, you know, you never know. You never know. Someone sees a nice phone in the toilet and they're like, I'll take that.
I'll take that one, yeah.
Tip 5. Is it me?
You sure go, yeah.
It's mine. Tip 5, uniform dressing. Remove the morning decision. I've actually spoken about this before I can't remember what episode I spoke about it. But I miss school sometimes when you wore the same thing every single day, because there was no decision about what I'm going to wear, or, you know, have to wash this clothes, or is this looking good? You know, you just wear a blazer, shirt, skirt, same thing every single day. Getting dressed in the morning requires so much decision making, and especially for me, in the morning is probably when I'm like the least like switched on. I'm moody, I'm angry because I've had to wake up, or like I'm getting stressed getting ready. And so it's the decision fatigue in the morning. It just derails your whole day. So to fix it, just build like a default wardrobe. Like, is it a capsule wardrobe? Like capsule wardrobe. Just have it so it's like, if it's for work, you know, you kind of wear the same thing every single day, but you just change one item of it. So say, for example, you have like 2 or 3 pairs of trousers and then like a couple different tops, and then you just rotate it and you switch it around every week. And that work isn't like a fashion show. Well, I don't think of it as like a fashion show. I don't really care of like what I look like in the office.
No.
As long as I'm wearing clothes that are like smart casual, like I'm comfortable in, and I can wear. It's like not about having like a literal uniform, because I think that if you like work in an office where you don't have to wear a uniform, you'd probably look a bit strange, like, you know, like Steve Jobs coming in like with a black turtleneck and trousers every single day. Although I'm pretty certain he was neurodivergent anyway.
Yeah.
But, you know, you don't have to wear an official uniform.
No.
But it's more of like a palette, more of like everything is kind of like the same vibe and the same colour, you know, something you don't
Mix and match.
Mix and match. It just can't go wrong. It's just very easy. You know, even if I don't do this, I know a lot of people do this, is like laying out your outfit the morning before.
No, I only do it if I have a gym class and I know it's going to be really hard for me to wake up, for example, or like if I've got to be really early for the airport. I mean, that's a big one.
Yeah,
the last
to be fair,
thing you want to be thinking about before an airport is what you're going to wear.
If I'm getting on a plane, I will have my airport outfit like on top of my suitcase because I don't want to be thinking about what I'm wearing on the plane. And then gym stuff, I'll just put it in my bag the night before. But yeah, I've never been one to like lay out maybe when I was younger and it was like non-uniform day and you think so hard about
so
what
excited.
And I'm gonna wear my Ed Hardy hoodie and like my Ugg boots and my skinny jeans. I'm gonna look so cool.
How good was non-uniform day, by the way?
I know.
I literally get so excited.
It'd be like MSNing my friends and like, thought, what are you wearing for non-uniform day?
They'd be always like wearing something nice for that boy that you fancy at school.
I know. It's like, he's really gonna notice me in my Ed Hardy hoodie. Although Ed Hardy's making a comeback now.
Really?
And Ed Hardy now is actually a lot nicer than like Ed Hardy when I was 12 years old.
I don't know what he looked like when you were 12 years old. I can't.
Basically like a lot of diamantes and like tiger print.
Yes, okay, I do remember.
With my little Ugg boots.
You have surely you had the big Ugg boots. Were half Ugg boots even a thing back then?
No, they didn't have the
they didn't have
ones. It was like
it was
the ones that went up to like half calf. And then I remember I had like a pair of black knitted Ugg boots and I loved them.
Oh wow,
I loved
knitted Ugg boots.
Yeah.
I always used to wear them down, so were you ever
I always walk like this, so it's
they're
like
all slanted.
They're all slanted on the side and you look ridiculous walking in them. Did you guys, it was like Paul's Boutique a thing as well when you were younger?
Oh my God, I never had a Paul's Boutique. I know I did have a Jane Norman bag with my pea kit in it. Do you remember you used to go shop? You'd go and get the smallest thing just to get a bag from somewhere.
You used to have like my little, it would be like an Abercrombie paper bag, like
with your pea kit,
pea kit in it, or like JD Sports bags were like a thing.
Yeah, like the ones that you just like.
It's
like
literally just like a shopping bag, and we're so excited of like
a
shopping bag. I used to be so jealous of anyone with Paul's Boutique though. Like there'd be the girl with like the khaki like Paul's Boutique coat, and it's like in massive writing Paul's Boutique and all the bags, and people were using the Paul's Boutique handbags as their school bag. It's like, how are you fitting all your school books in there? So you'd have the Paul's Boutique handbag, you'd have like the Jane Norman or like the Abercrombie and Fitch one. And then if you had food tech on that day, you'd have like another full bag of food. So you'd have like three separate bags.
And then there'd always be that one person that basically just had everything in like a Netto bag. Bless them.
Did you ever have anyone like at school who used to have like a suitcase?
No, suitcase.
It was like a backpack on wheels.
Oh no!
I think, like, to be fair, we probably took the mick out of them when we were younger, but actually, that is probably the most efficient thing ever. It's absolutely genius. Either having the messenger bag or having like a roll-on suitcase. Although, how many books are you bringing in? To be fair, it probably would have helped me because I got in trouble at school all the time for forgetting school books.
Yeah. Books or PE kit or something. Although I used to actually do that on purpose because I hated PE. So
I'd be like, oh, sorry, and then they'd be like, oh, this PE kit in lost and found. And I'm like, sorry, miss, no one's feet are as small as mine. So I always used to get away, and they're like, you can wear your school shoes. So I'd be in this like lost and found PE kit with like this massive t-shirt that smelled and shorts that were too big, and I was wearing like my little pumps, like running around. Evil PE teachers.
Not fun. Tip number 6, the 2-minute rule. If it takes less than 2 minutes, do it now. This is so annoying, so important because borrowed from the Getting Things Done system, but genuinely useful for ADHD brains. So, for example, reply to that text now. As we all know, if you listen to the podcast, I am terrible at replying. And if I don't reply to the text now, it becomes another text in the other 16 unread text messages that I have, when I could have just reduced that overwhelm now. Put things back from where they came from now. The clothes that are on there will literally take me 2 minutes to put away, but they're only going to stay in there. Then I'll do another wash. It's only going to accumulate and add to that clothes pile there. Put things in the bin rather than leaving them on the side. just the really little things that, for example, big one for me is always like ringing for a doctor's appointment or cancelling a subscription or doing an ASOS return. And what happens is then I forget about it, and then it's too late, and I've already paid for that subscription again, or I've lost the return window, and it ends up costing me more time and money in the end, rather than just doing it, in that 2 minutes.
I think the thing is as well is like when you've got a to-do list of things to do, for me, I'm always like, well, I need to tick off everything on my to-do list right now. And that is more overwhelming. Whereas you don't actually need to do everything all at once. I know, crazy idea. But, if you walk past the bin and you have the thought of, oh, I need to take the bins out, and it's going to take you less than 2 minutes to take the bins out, then just do it in that impulsive moment where you've thought of it. Because usually I'll be like, oh, I need to take the bins out, I need to do the washing, I need to do this. I don't need to. Like, you can just do one small thing. Because like all the small tasks end up accumulating and creating so much background noise that if you can just like tick it off when it comes to mind, that's one less thing.
And I think just generally doing the small tasks gives you a bit of a dopamine hit. There's a book that I was told to read when I first joined one of my jobs called Eat That Frog. And although that's all about doing the bigger tasks first, I think for ADHD brains, sometimes doing those small tasks first is really good, because just doing the little things that are on your to-do list, which often end up staying there for months because they are the little things, gives you that dopamine hit. And then it means, okay, I've done that small thing now, and it gives you the motivation to be able to do that next thing.
Yeah. Because like we said, the big things are usually the easier things, whereas the small things are harder to do. So, if you notice it, then do it. Caveat on that, though, is that this only works if you actually notice the thing that needs to be done. Like if you are avoiding something and you don't notice that the bins need to be taken out, then you can't do it. So it's a combination of like trying to be a bit more present and aware of like the things that need to be done around you, and then if it pops into your brain and you know that it's going to take you less than 2 minutes, then just do it. Because the time that you spend thinking about how much you don't want to do it,
just done it.
You could have just done it. Like I do it all the time. I'll moan and have a tantrum about how I don't want to put the washing on the dryer, and I'll spend like 15 minutes having a full-blown tantrum and getting upset about how I don't want to do it. Whereas if I just got up and did it, it would have been done in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Tip 7, phone charging and tech boundaries. This is kind of like a mix of general wellness advice, but I would say it's very important for people with ADHD. Like the problem, I find this as well, is like when I have my phone in the bedroom, especially like before bed, I will just end up doom scrolling before I'm going to sleep, which means that my ADHD symptoms will be way worse tomorrow, because I've basically spent 2 hours scrolling on TikTok, doom scrolling, look at all the stuff that's happening in the world, then not wanting to sleep because I'm like so into whatever it is I'm reading. It makes my day the next day even worse because I haven't had a good sleep. And like specifically for ADHD people, social media is literally like a whole dopamine thing. It's an addiction thing of that dopamine loop of watching the videos, liking it, and you get stuck in that loop. It's the same as like impulse buying, I would say. So this is easier said than done, because I will say like I would love to not scroll TikTok before going to bed, but I always end up doing it. And to try and replace that, I end up trying just to read my Kindle before bed. But some of the hacks that I think are quite helpful to try and avoid that doom scrolling before bed is charging your phone outside of the bedroom. It sounds really simple, but like just put your phone on charge in like the living room or in the kitchen or somewhere else, so that you're not just like, there'll be times where I'm like falling asleep and I'll be like, oh, I wonder what the population of Argentina is. And then I can't sleep because I'm thinking about having to Google it. And then because my phone is on charge next to my bed, I'll roll over and then I'll Google it.
Before you know it, you're in another hole.
And then I'm in another hole of like, oh, I've looked at Argentina, oh, what's this next thing, and you get stuck in a loop, and before you know it, it's like 4 a.m. and you're like researching the most random thing ever. So just charge your phone outside of the bedroom. And I know a lot of people like have alarm clocks on their phone. I've stopped using the alarm clock on my phone, and I have one of those sunrise alarm clocks. And I find that just makes my life so much easier, because then you remove all the barriers to like, okay, well, my phone's in the other room. I don't need it. I don't need an alarm clock on my phone because I've got a physical alarm clock. And just have a book or a Kindle instead, because then you won't get stuck in the doom scrolling loop. And then hopefully your day after will be a lot more manageable because you've had a good night's sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think deleting apps off your phone, eat your time off your phone's home screen. Sorry, phone screen, home screen. So not off your phone, just off the home screen. This has actually really helped me. I do this with Instagram. So I like move Instagram onto the second page so I can't see it. I also have a really good app called Opal, and I think there's a few of them. I'm sure you see every single time I go onto TikTok or Instagram, I have to go through this process where I go onto Opal, then I have to like stop snooze or whatever, and then 15 seconds it actually takes to then open the apps, and it basically just helps you reduce the amount of times you go on the apps, because you can't just click on it because it actually blocks for a certain amount of time. So from like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays, you could block it.
That's actually really good.
Then you have to go into the app to unblock them, so you can't actually click on them otherwise, which is quite good, really.
Because I feel like most of the time that I go on my phone, it's not even intentional.
It's habit.
It's just habit. So like if I'm watching TV, I'll literally just pick up my phone and then like click on TikTok without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
But if I had to jump through more hoops to get onto it, I'd probably like be more aware of it and being like, why am I even going on my phone right now?
When I was in Australia, I met a guy who is, he actually came on one of my old podcasts, and he's like, he lives as a minimalist, like doesn't really have social media, la la la. And he was showing me these tips. He showed me Opal, and he also taught me about putting your phone on grayscale. So what it does is we get the dopamine from the colours and
it's like a casino, isn't it? It's like the loud,
bright lights,
the bright lights. And if it was on grayscale, I feel like I'd never. I need to do that.
So when you put it on grayscale, everything looks less appealing. Even when you go on Instagram and you're like looking at people's pictures, even the comparison loop falls a little bit, because it's like no picture looks as good when it's in grayscale.
Yeah. I also read as well, like, majority of the social media like colours are all blue, and you would think that blue is associated with sleep, but actually when your eyes look at the colour blue, it keeps you awake for longer.
Right, really?
So all the social media pages,
this is crazy. They're just made to keep us hooked.
Yeah,
aren't
they are made to get you addicted. So they put all the blue in it because blue makes you want to stay more awake and you are more likely to click back on it. Wow. Whereas like red is more of a sleepy colour, which is surprising.
Right.
And have you ever seen a social media badge which is red?
No.
Apart from YouTube, but even if you go onto YouTube, there's no red on there.
Yeah.
So
that's very interesting.
Grayscale is the way forward.
Honestly, give it a go.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're using your phone a lot, give it a go. You actually just have to, if you can change a setting, and then you can just double click on the side of your phone, and it just changes. Oh, it'd be different with a Samsung. Yeah. Megan's got a Samsung.
I'm Android life. I don't like to be taken.
You don't just like to follow the crowd.
I'm just different. To be fair, I used to be Apple. And then Matt he didn't make me, but he had a Samsung and it looked a lot cooler at the time because the battery lasted a lot longer and you could do more stuff on it.
Yeah.
And then I remember when I moved over from Apple to Samsung, I actually cried. I cried because I was you were grieving Apple. I was like, I don't know where everything is. How does it work? But now I'm Samsung. I don't think I would go back to
Samsung
Apple.
only.
Now, when someone gives me an iPhone and like take a photo, I feel like an old person. I'm like, where is this? Where is this? How does it work?
That's funny. So tip number 8, and we've spoken about this a lot in our episodes, but body doubling for life admin. So for example, cleaning the flat, calling a friend while you're doing it, doing a big life admin session, taxes, emails, sorting bills, sit with someone whilst you're doing those things. We have spoken about this before, but going through your wardrobe, when I was moving into this flat, you came over and you just helped me sort things out. You helped me pack the other day when you came over, and it literally half the stress and half the time for me just having you there being like, okay, we're taking this, you need this. And I think that especially with packing, I don't know about you, but I'm massively overpack, and having someone to be a bit ruthless with you while
like, you don't need
you
that.
don't actually need that.
You were like, I need another basic top, and I was like, well, you've got one, two, 3, 4, 5 white basic tops, and you need another white basic top. Yeah. No, you don't.
And during that trip, I literally wore I think half the clothes I didn't even wear.
I wore half the clothes that I brought, because you're like, oh, I never know, you never know. But then you're not going to like stray too far from what you've actually got.
No.
So yeah, I think body doubling, you obviously do it for work, for studying, but do it for life admin as well. Slight variation on it. I call it goblin mode tidy.
Yeah.
This is like, I will set myself a timer. So say, for example, on Spotify, I have like a playlist, which is like 20 minutes long. And it's like songs that make me want to get up and dance. So like songs that are like I really love them, and I really like want to sing along to them. And I'll set myself, okay, you've got until the end of this. You've got until the end of this song. Ow! You've got until
Everybody. To be fair, maybe I should do that. Just with the girl on, and he's chasing after me.
And it's like you know you've got the timer on it, and the time limit makes it feel like you have to do it in a certain amount of time, and it's like a game almost. The music, shifts your state. You're almost like body doubling with yourself. And so it's like, right, got 20 minutes to do this. How much can I get done in this 20 minutes before the playlist ends? I'm going to add the Go by Chemical Brothers onto that.
Yeah, no, that's a really good idea. I need to do that more.
My flat going, ow!
I thought you liked danger. But the thing is, it sounds a bit like hide and seek, isn't it? You can never run as fast and hide as fast as possible when you've got a set time, right? You've got 3 minutes, well, not 3, who's 3 minutes to hide? You've got 1 minute, you've got to hide. It's the same kind of thing, isn't it? I think having that pressure and knowing that you need to do it, it's just a little bit of a game. Yeah, and that's very fun.
I like danger. I remember actually there was this app when I was trying to get into running, and it was an app called like Zombie Run or something, and you basically like put your headphones in and it has like your music in.
What, someone's chasing after you?
It has the sound of zombies on it, and it's like you're being chased by zombies, and it's like if you slow down too much they get louder, and it's like oh my god, I'm actually being chased. It's actually so good. And then it like looks at your GPS and the map and like puts different zombies in different areas.
That's actually a really good idea.
It's quite fun because instead of just like listening to music or doing anything like that, you actually have a reason to be running, and it makes you scared and it makes you run faster than you ever would.
I love that idea.
So yeah, it's almost it kind of goes into gamifying things. I remember there was an app as well which is like Walking to Mordor. And it's like, if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, it's basically has on the app the same amount of mileage as it would be to walk to Mordor. And so it tracks your steps every single day, and then you get further along and you get close to Mordor.
I love that.
So if you're a bit of a fantasy nerd and you like that sort of stuff, then that's another fun thing of trying to get yourself to walk and get some steps in.
There's that step app as well where you can get I don't know, I've never actually used it, but you can get like a free coffee for the amount of steps that you do, like a rewards for walking or something.
I can't remember what it's called, but I remember someone telling me about that. Like,
it seems too good to be true.
It does. And I bet, when they're like, oh, you get a free coffee, and then it's like a coffee shop that's like 15, 20 minutes away from you. It's like not an accessible one.
Or a
it's
shit
like,
coffee.
It's always like a random one. Like, oh, yeah, you get a free Greg's. So I don't want a Greg's, I mean, I would take a free Greg's, but like, it's never the good ones. It's always like the random.
Yeah.
It's like Too Good to Go, although there are a lot of good places on Too Good to Go. Like, I remember at uni when it first came out and getting really excited about it, and then it'd be like, it's just some random like Chinese buffet on there.
I don't really want that.
Or it's like, oh, it's Pret, but you have to pick it up at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to Pret at 9 p.m.
No, not that desperate for a Greg's panini.
All right, tip number 9, automate everything you possibly can. We spoke about this in the money episode about like automating your bills and your finances, but I think it can be applied to just life admin as well. Everything can be automated. If you're doing the meal delivery boxes, that's automatic. You can just get that delivered. You can have your grocery orders. If you like eating the same thing and you get the same shop every single week, just have the same basket every single week with minor edits. You don't need to like think, oh, what milk, what bread am I going to get? It's simple.
It's already done.
Prescription autofill as well. Like if you're on medication, if you have the option like on a certain date, like it automatically gets sent to you, do that. bill payments, obviously already spoken about that in the money episode. Like even things like smart lights. I don't actually have any smart lights, but I think that's actually quite a good idea, because the amount of times I go into a room before I go to bed and I leave the light on, and then I get into bed and then I'm like, oh, I've left the light on in the other room and I have to go up and get it and then turn the light off. Like, if you can put smart lights in your whole house and then you're in bed and then you're like, shit, I've forgotten to turn the lights off in there, and you can just
turn it off from your bed.
Turn it off from your bed. That is so much easier. So just in every aspect possibly, if you can automate it. Why not? You know, just every decision that you make costs a lot of cognitive energy. Every system you build that removes a decision is a genuine investment in your functioning. So you're not being lazy, you are being efficient when you have finite resources. So like what we said before about working smarter, not harder.
Absolutely.
You don't have to get up and do everything manually. You don't have to be a martyr. It doesn't make you a better person because you do everything manually. Just automate it, and then you don't have to think about it. You don't have to make that decision.
Yeah, I completely agree. So moving on to the final one, tip 10, stop apologizing for your workarounds. So I think this is probably the emotional close of the episode, really, because I think we need to reframe that every hack in this episode probably sounds like something a properly functioning adult shouldn't need. For example, frozen veg instead of fresh veg. If you're a neurotypical person, this is probably thinking, that's so stupid, you're so lazy, just get normal vegetables. Having to get meal boxes and paying the extra money instead of just cooking your food from scratch. A bucket for putting things away, issue instead of just remembering. But neurotypical people have workarounds too, like planners that we mentioned. There's lots of things in the neurotypical world that make their life easier. Apps on their phone to remember things, apps on their phone to plan their day, whatever it might be. They're just not as stigmatized because the world was ultimately built for them.
Yeah, the world is not built for neurotypical people.
Yeah.
Neurodivergent people, sorry. It's not built for us. And so, like, a lot of these hacks seem stupid and they seem like really childish to a lot of people. But there shouldn't be stigma around it. Like, you don't need to live a life that everyone else lives. Like, you need to live a life that works for you, and you need to stop trying to fit into the mold of what you think, you should be like. I've tried multiple planners. I've bought so many different planners, bought really nice ones that look really good and they have every single day in it and they've got a to-do list. And, I do it for like 3 days and feel really good about myself. Then I forget about it and I feel really shit about myself that I haven't used it in months. And the amount of planners that I have like in a box in my room is ridiculous. And it's like, why did I even try to think that I would do that? Because it's not really built for me. And obviously a lot of ADHD people do love using planners, but for me, I'm not going to sit there every single morning and write out what I need to do on that day. So yeah, it's more of like stop feeling like you're a failure because you can't do these typical hacks that everyone else does. You can do the silly ones, the things that work. If that's an app that zombies are screaming at you to run, if it's putting your keys in your shoes the morning before, it can be completely unhinged and chaotic, and it doesn't need to make sense to anyone else other than you.
Yeah, I think just reframing it, right, from a failure to a coping mechanism, because that's ultimately what it is. And you don't owe anyone anything. You don't owe cooking your friends a home-cooked meal from scratch, or anyone that comes over. I mean, that's a big stress for me if someone's coming over. I've got to make the most extravagant thing, and I've got to really think this through, and that's a whole stress for me, when actually, who really cares? Like, if someone's coming over to your flat, it doesn't need to be like overly tidy. No. You're the same as me. If I've got someone coming over,
I stress
I'm
so
like
much.
2 hours cleaning in them, and it's like nobody even notices the amount you've cleaned.
I spent
Nobody cares.
5 hours cleaning grout in the bathroom. It's like, how many times have you gone into someone's like bathroom and like stared at the grout.
Oh,
And been like,
I did stare at your grout, Megan.
oh, did you?
Yeah.
God, now I'm gonna have to clean my grout when you come round.
Just nobody cares.
No
like,
one
no one's looking,
cares.
especially the people that love you and care about you. Like, they're not gonna give a shit
Like,
about.
if your house is like a normal level of clean, like fine.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like if someone's coming round, I'm like hoovering the ceilings and like finding every single thing that needs to be cleaned. And it's like no one's coming round. And it's like the only time someone would come round and be like, fucking hell, is if you were like a hoarder and you just had shit everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
or like there's like just food in the sink and
Yeah.
it's really messy. Fair enough.
I've had it like I'll have clothes out on the dryer and someone's come round and I thought, oh my God, they're coming
They
round and
must
I've
think
got
I'm
clothes
such
out
a
on the
dirty bitch.
Oh my God, I'm so messy. It's like, it's literally just clothes on the
Yeah.
dryer. It's fine. Your house doesn't need to be a Pinterest board.
Yeah.
And that's been a big struggle for me because I look at Pinterest all the time and
Same.
I think I get sad because I'm like, why does it not look
Yeah.
like this? And no
Yeah.
matter what I do, no matter what I buy, it doesn't look like a Pinterest board.
Yeah.
But that's because it's
not
lived.
meant to.
It's not
It's
meant
a
to.
house.
It's lived
Yeah.
in. And I have cats, so yeah, there's going to be cat hair on places. And I physically don't have the time to be able to hoover up after my cat after it's sat on the sofa every single time. So, you know, you just got to give yourself a bit of grace, I think, too.
Yeah. And I think ultimately, the goal is to make life feel more manageable so that leaves you with more energy to do all of the other things that really matter in life.
Yeah, exactly. You want the energy to be able to do the fun things. Like, why are you wasting your energy thinking about like what to cook and things
Yeah.
like that? Use your energy on the things that actually fulfill you and fill your cup up.
Yeah.
I think that's a good
way to end the podcast.
Way to end.
Thank you for listening and we'll see you next week for the next episode.
See you then.